Welcome to the 2012-2013 season of Primetime at the BU Library. Primetime, for those of you who don't know, is the year-long celebration of the academic and experiential accomplishments of our faculty, students, and staff, and is a collaboration between the Friends, the BU Library, and many offices on campus, like the Office of International Studies today. Next Tuesday, for those of you who are interested, Professor of English Mary Larson and Associate Professor of Philosophy Sarah Shady will be sharing about Bethel's involvement in the recent White House Interfaith Campus Challenge in their publication, Interfaith Engagement in a Pluralistic World. But today we have Kelsey and Piepkorn and Wahlberg to share about their time in the Creation Care Study Program in Belize.
Good morning, everyone. I'm first going to start off with, we did not actually plan our outfits. They just happened. So, and then second, if you could actually wait for your questions until the end. So if you think of something, write it down. That would be great, because I just feel like if we had answer questions in between, we might lose our train of thought. So just wait till the end. We have time for that. So Kirsten's going to start this time.
So just a brief history of Belize. It just recently gained its independence, September 21st of 1981, so it's only been an independent country for 31 years. So it started with the Mayans originally lived there, and then the British and European cultures, they moved in there to Belize, and so eventually, like, people just kind of migrated to Belize, and so now there's just all sorts of cultures there. There's Creole, Mestizo, which is type of Indian, Chinese, Garifuna, Maya, and Mennonite communities. So it's a very diverse country. And it's still developing, so there's only 328,000 people there, and so it feels very small, like everybody knows everybody. It's kind of funny.
It takes 2 hours to drive from here, from Belize City to the capital, to where we were.
Yeah.
So.
And our campus was, it was like in this area. So we stayed in a city called San Ignacio. And
Santa Elena and
Santa Elena, yeah. They're just
like
small
the
towns.
twin cities of Belize.
Yes. Cool.
Alright, so CCSB stands for Creation Care Study Program. It's a unique study abroad program in the sense that it's Christian-based, which is really awesome. So studying abroad, that's one of my key points that I wanted to look for. I didn't realize that until Kirsten actually asked me to go. So their mission statement is that, okay, I'll just read the whole thing. The Creation Care Study Program is a Christian organization whose mission is to educate students to be a part of and agents for God's shalom, particularly through understanding and caring for creation. And they have 3 campuses. One's in New Zealand and obviously in Belize. And the new program is the Cascadia program in Washington State, and that will actually be starting next fall, 2013. And what's really awesome about the program is it emphasizes field work and field trips. So with every single class, you're getting outside, you're going out doing things, and or you get to travel like to an island or deeper into the jungle.
So our daily structure was, we had breakfast at 8, big class from 9 to 12, lunch at 12:30, and then we had a break until supper at 5:30, which we're usually doing assignments or homework in. And then we had a class from 7 to 9. So class twice a day. Sometimes with the ecology classes, they had like class at like 1 to 3. Very rigorous, but it was awesome. So.
They extended their classes because they wanted us to just spend a couple days really focusing on lecture, probably the first day of class during the course, so that way the rest could just be field work and be out, getting outside and not being stuck inside. So the courses that we took were God and Nature, Sustainable Community Development, Environmental Literature, Internships, and then Tropical Ecosystems. And you can see that there's 1, 2, and then 3 parts to Sustainable Community Development, 3 parts to Tropical Ecosystems. Environmental Literature was only 1 week, and internships happened for 2 weeks together. And so what's really cool about our courses is that it wasn't just God, Nature 1, God, Nature 2. It rotated. So it would go God, Nature 1, and then go to Sustainable Community Development, to Environmental Literature, to ecology class and then just keep rotating. And every week we had a different professor fly in, either from Canada or America. So that was also sweet because every course had a different professor.
And also the way it worked was that we all lived together.
With the professor.
Yeah, with the professor. So literally the professor had a room like right next to Kelsey's room, and they ate breakfast with us. We were very welcome to like go ask them questions. If we had any questions about our homework, they were very open, like always on campus. So that was really nice. So I'm going to go over a little bit more in depth of God and Nature 1 and 2. So God and Nature Part 1, we learned kind of the basis for like the scripture and creation care together. So we learned about living for the empire versus living for the kingdom. We talked a lot about Sabbath and Jubilee. And one of the fun things that we did was we canned salsa. Not really related, but it was still a lot of fun. It was a class activity though. And then part 2 was awesome. We learned about the integration of food and faith. We learned about food being a gift. We talked a lot about feeding versus feasting. And our final was a community dinner where we all got to pick what we ate at like that Friday night. And we all got to go to the market and buy our food and come back, and we all were cooking together. And it was just a really special night. That's a picture of our dinner table. We got to like pick how the dinner table looked, and it just, they knew that we already kind of came from a background of knowing like where creation care like is talked about in the Bible. So they just wanted to orientate it a little bit differently, talking about food, which is so important since we all have to eat. So, yeah.
And also, if anyone ever wants to have a candlelight dinner with me and Kirsten, or just both of us, and to go more in depth about what we learned, please, because candlelight dinners are great. All right, so one of our other classes, Sustainable Community Development, had 3 parts, as I mentioned earlier. And for part 1, we mainly focused on research. We researched other developing countries and kind of their economic status and stuff, and their agricultural practices there. And we also had a skit, which was super interesting. We all got different roles, and we got to dress up, and we had a debate among all of us. So that was fun. And part 2, we discussed a lot about poverty and the savior complex, as well as sustainable agriculture. And this is one of the farms that we went to called Chalk Creek. It's actually this really upscale resort down in Belize, but they try to grow all the food that they can for their own resort, and so that's how a lot of the places are in Belize. They do a lot of eco-tourism, and then a lot of eco-lodges, so that's really cool. And by the way, anything that we mention here, they're pretty brief topics, so if you want to go in more depth about like the savior complex or poverty, or what we learned by integrating those two, feel free to talk to one of us about it, because we'd be glad to go more in depth. We just don't have that time right now. So, and part 3 was integration week. It was actually the last week of classes, so at the very end, we pulled everything together, and it was just awesome to bring everything back together, to see what we learned in the classes and how everything related. It was absolutely wonderful. And then we really ended with the idea of shalom and being regenerative. And so for shalom was a really new concept for me, so had not really encountered it before I went to Belize. And so I kept asking people, what's shalom? And people were like, oh, it's peace. And we talked about it as being a little bit different. So we talked about shalom as having right relationship, and having right relationship with us and God, us and ourselves, us and others, and us in creation. And in order to achieve right relationship, you need to have the absence of violence, justice, and delight. And so you would take all those 3 things and put those into your relationship to achieve shalom. And also being regenerative, which I think is really awesome. So we proposed that being regenerative could be our new word instead of being sustainable. So in the dictionary, regenerative means to bring new and vigorous life to bring new and spiritual life to. So instead of just being sustainable and just, just going through life to be sustained, what we should be doing is trying to be regenerative towards the land, regenerative towards each other, regenerative towards ourselves. So stuff like that.
Our next class was environmental literature. This was our 7-day long class. It was awesome. We read authors like Edward Abbey, Aldo Leopold, Henry David Thoreau, and many others. There was a lot of reading, but it was so good. And we would read these texts, and then we would discuss them, like what stood out to us, what is hard about this. We read a lot of Wendell Berry. We should have put him up there. We haven't read him, read him. He's awesome. And we traveled to this waterfall, Mountain Pine Ridge, and we swam in it. Not really related again, but it was a lot of fun. Yep.
The opportunity to have class by waterfall is pretty sweet, and then you get to go bouldering over here, and then jump in here, and it like brings you this way. Yeah.
Yes.
So internships. What's really unique about the Belize program for CCSP is they have the opportunity to do internships, whereas in New Zealand you don't get to have that opportunity. So for me, I was at the Belize Botanical Gardens, which was a blast. I just knew that I wanted to do something with botany. I wasn't super in plants, so it wasn't really my thing, but I figured, oh, well, plants are good, I like trees, let's go there. So while I was there, I mainly worked in the nursery with this guy named Josh. He's absolutely hilarious. The Belize Botanical Gardens, there's about 48 acres, and it's run by 7 men, just with their machetes and some other equipment, like John Deere tractor, or John Deere like lawnmowers. But so I worked in the nursery. My picture, yeah, I just wanted to use the laser thing, is in the orchid nursery. And so my supervisor came over and he's like, yeah, I want you to baptize the plants. I'm like, all right, I get to baptize plants. So that was a lot of fun. So I did things like moving things in the nursery, repotting. I worked on an agave bed. It took me 4 days, actually, but it was a lot of fun. I redid a path in the orchid house, and yeah, soil licks, and just kind of hung out and talked with them. For my internship, I wanted to make it count for for Bethel credit, so I stayed an extra 2 weeks after all the students left. So I actually had my internship for 4 weeks instead of 2. And it was really cool because I got an extra 2 weeks to really get to know the workers, and they love it when you just talk to them and just ask them questions because they want to learn more about your culture and who you are. And they really had an impact on me because when I was down there, I was like, all right, you give me a job, like I want to get done, let's go, let's go through this. But it's so hot there, like you have to take breaks, you have to drink water. And they kept telling me, Kelsey, you need to stop, like take a break. You're working too hard. Like go eat fruit for like an hour or something. Because there's a lot of fruit plants in the gardens. They're like, I don't know, go on a walk. And sometimes we'd get into an hour conversation, and I'm like, we didn't get any work done the past hour. Like an internship here, that would be acceptable. But here, I'm like, how do you guys know you're just going to get things done? Like, why don't you worry about things? Because I constantly worry about things. She's like, Kelsey, we have things. We just know we got to get them done. We'll get them done sometime, but we don't worry about it. It's not, it's not worth the energy. So that's been really influential for me. So don't worry about things. Things will get done.
And I interned at the Belize Zoo. That is me with one of our favorite snakes. Her name was Lindsay. They named her after my roommate who also interned there with me, since she had like a connection with the snake. It was really good for me to intern there because I believe like my whole entire life I wanted to work with animals. And I just realized, actually, after that internship, how much I enjoy talking with people and them talking back to me, and so I like to work with people. But the main thing that we did was, me and Lindsay, we would cut up the fruit and vegetables for the mammals, and we would wheel around the wheelbarrows around the Belize Zoo, and we would feed the tapirs, which is Belize's national animal. And we would feed the deer and the monkeys, and it was a lot of fun. And then my favorite thing was holding out the 5-foot boa constrictor and let like the guests who came in hold her, and her name's Balboa, and at first, most of the Belizeans would be like, oh no, I don't want to hold her, a snake, run away, and I'd be like, no, she's very tame, look at how soft she is, like, at least pet her, and it was so rewarding to see people holding Balboa and being like, oh, she is really nice, instead of, you know, being like, snake, die, Satan, so, it was very rewarding for me to be able to talk to people about how important it is to realize that not all animals and not all snakes are bad. And that's one of the things that the Belize Zoo really tries to stress is how important it is to not just like be afraid of the animals, but respect them if they'll respect you if you respect them. So they focus a lot on like educating Belizeans about conserving the animals. And what I thought was really cool about the zoo was that all of the animals that are brought there were caught, like the jaguars, they have jaguars there. They were the problem jaguars who were like attacking like cattle, and instead of like just shooting them, they would bring them in and try to like reintroduce them to the wild, but when they weren't able to, they would let them stay at the zoo. So I really respected that all the animals there were native and not forced to be there. They were there because they couldn't live without people feeding them. So it was very rewarding for me.
Alright, tropical ecosystems. I love ecology so much. All of us had a blast with ecology. Each week was just awesome. So we had forest ecology, stream, and marine, which was taught by Bethel's own Ian Johnston, which was super sweet. And so forest, and everyone had a research project. And forest ecology, this is me on a vine, because I'm in the jungle. I need to swing like Tarzan. I can't come all the way here and not be Tarzan. Legitimately. So that's me. Just climbing. He's like, Kelsey, I don't know if you should do that. Get down. So being the past gymnast that I am, I have to climb things and do crazy things. So I scare people occasionally. But it's well worth it, getting to swing like Tarzan. So a couple of the research projects, some people did leaf cutters, Kirsten's group did birding, and my group did pollinators, so we just went out and watched pollinators. Each day we went on a jungle hike during the day, and then we also went on night hikes, which were super sweet. So has anyone here seen Princess Bride? Who knows what the fire swamp is? Okay, we were in the fire swamp. It was crazy. So big trees, big buttress roots at night, and just this clear forest floor, and who knows if a jaguar is just gonna pop out from the tree, like you don't know. But it was super sweet, so we were definitely in the fire swamp. And then one particular night, it was me, Kirsten's roommate, and our professor. So we learned that we probably should have packed extra clothes because it happened to rain a lot that week. And so I was wearing bits and pieces of dry clothes here and there. But so me and her and our professor, who can hear things, see things, I don't understand how he does it, but he just knows. Like, I will not go out in the jungle unless I'm with Dave Foster. Yeah, I trust him with my life. So on this particular night, we went out and we saw different animals at a couple different spots. And he brought us to the swamp, this different, like natural swamp. And normally the water level is lower, it has been for past students. So he's like, oh, students usually go back there. But since it's just you two, do you guys want to go back there farther? And we're like, yeah, let's do it, because we're searching for a tapir, which is like the goofiest animal I've ever seen. And we should have put a picture up here. But so we go deeper into the jungle. So we're up to our knees in mud. We have cattle lily flowers that are above our heads. It's completely dark because the canopy is super thick. And he's like, all right, oh, I hear the tapir. Shut your flashlights off. So we're like, oh my God, I'm going to shut my flashlight off. Like, all right. So we just grab each other's hands and shut our flashlights off. And I think we were in the jungle in the dark without our flashlights for 20 minutes. And all of a sudden we heard this big crash behind us. And we're like, we're going to die. Oh my gosh. And luckily I didn't die, obviously, because I'm here. But sadly we didn't see the tapir, but it was an adventure of a lifetime. It was sweet. And then also besides the night hike, when all of us went in the group, we came to this big open field, and grass is also taller than us because everything in the tropics is bigger and more colorful there. But so we just came out to this field, and it was just glittering with fireflies, and I just love fireflies. And all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, I just breathed like, wow, like these are God's stars on earth. Like He made the world so beautiful, and so it's just incredible to me. All the amazing places that we've never heard of, we've never seen, and they're just so incredible. God really created this world absolutely beautiful and very intricate. So I think that's great, very cool. So, all right, so Forest was awesome. Stream, we got to measure discharge, which is the flow of the stream, and we also collected macroinvertebrates, and then we also identified macroinvertebrates, which took a very long time, but it ended up being fun, a lot of fun, especially because someone was sent jelly beans, so then we ate jelly bellies while we were doing it. And marine, as I said before, is taught by Ian Johnston. And so we went out to Glover's Atoll, which is an island out in the middle of the Caribbean. And what's cool about out there is the islands out there are all abandoned coconut plantations. So we learned how to get coconuts off the tree and then bash them open or cut them open with machete and just sat on the beach and ate coconuts. And when I had my tummy, we did research projects. And we also went snorkeling twice a day. And we had to identify things and we had homework, but it was absolutely incredible. Got fresh seafood for lunch and dinner. It was awesome. So this picture over here is us identifying macroinvertebrates for stream ecology. And then this is us having a blast. This is our bus, our boat guide on the island.
We're sunburned.
Yeah, we're super sunburned. That's why I'm wearing a t-shirt or a tank top. So we're heading up to the snorkeling.
So what's cool about CCSP is that they also really stress getting immersed in the culture. So we had 3 different opportunities for homestays where we would just go and stay with the family. So our first one was our local homestay, which was 2 nights. Our second homestay was the Mennonite one, which is why we're dressed up with our Mennonite garb. And then we had our internship homestay, which was 2 weeks long, and we got really close with our homestay families. So, yep, and the, you want to explain that?
This right here is the number for 60, because I decided it would be fun to try and do a day picture every day, but that ended up not working out as well as I thought it would, but it's okay. So that's why it's not a gang symbol. It's just me taking a day picture. And you can't take your camera to the Mennonite, so we had to take it before we left.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's Brittany Miller. She also goes to Bethel. So that was your Bethel girls. Oh, yeah.
That's okay. All right, so CCSP traditions. This is what happens each week that you're there, how it's structured, unless you're gone on a trip. So Monday, we had music and musings, where each student would pick a song, and they would play it for the rest of us, and then we just, muse over it and discuss it. It's connection, and different connections that we made. On Tuesdays, we had small group every morning before breakfast, and my group decided that we wanted to engage in doing a Bible study every Tuesday morning, so that's what my group did.
And my group did a lot of service opportunities, so we took a lot of time to go pick up garbage on the street or in the stream and stuff.
And Wednesday, we had noontime news. So we had 2 they're called SLCs, or student life coordinators, comparable to an RA or a TA. Their names are Josh and Jelly, and they were awesome. So Jelly would tell us about the sports at different schools, so we kind of knew what was going on, like soccer or girls' women's hockey or baseball. And Josh would tell us world news, so we learned a lot about the wars that were going on, which was really good because I now know that I need to be more in tune with the world, not just what's going on immediately in my life. Mm-hmm. And Thursday mornings was read aloud. We read The Irresistible Revolution during breakfast, so we would take turns reading just a paragraph or a page or whatever you felt like reading, and then pass on the next person while eating breakfast. So I recommend The Irresistible Revolution by Shane Claiborne. We didn't get all the way through when we were at CCSP, so I actually bought it this summer and I read through it, and it's awesome. And Sunday, we had town hall and community night. Town hall, each professor would just kind of introduce what was coming up for the class and different events that were going on for the class. And then community night was just awesome. It was really the chance to sit and just worship God and connect with God and just bring it back to why we're here, to learn more about Him and who He is. So, and it was always different. It wasn't the same thing every week. For example, we did foot washing.
We sang some hymns.
We had a labyrinth. I think is how you pronounce it.
A labyrinth, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other things.
Some other things.
And then there were two definite periods where we had an opportunity to travel. So the first one was like the second week that we were there in Belize. They're like, okay, we're closing campus. Have fun. See you guys later.
We were kicked off campus.
We were literally kicked off campus. We're like, I don't even know this country. So, but it was good. So 5 of us girls went to Piepkorn, which is an island off the coast of Belize. And then there was spring break, which was 5 or 6 days long, and 4 of us traveled down Guatemala.
Where we saw Erica over there.
Yep.
I met Erica in Guatemala.
Yep. And then, so this is Kelsey and I at Smooth, which was the most incredible place I've been to in my whole entire life. It was so beautiful. It was an underwater cave where there was just like cascading like waterfalls that we were allowed to like play in all day long. And then we found out that there was a way that you could like climb on top of this like humongous like mountain and like look down over Smooth, and it was just like crystal blue water with like these cascading waterfalls. And we were just like, God, we are so small. We are so small in your creation, yet you love us enough to bring us here. So it was just so mind-blowing, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity to be able to travel like that.
We also hiked a volcano and roasted marshmallows at the top. It was really sweet.
Did a lot of fun stuff. Oh, okay.
Wow. Well, does anyone have questions? Missy.
What is Kirsten holding in the top?
That is a possum, a baby possum. Randomly one night, we're like, what is on our windows? We have like bars on our windows, and there's little baby possums. And so since I was the only person who like had my rabies shot, I got to hold them. I was so happy.
There's like a family of them.
Yeah, there's so many of them.
On our verandas.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Yeah. And this is also at Glover's.
This is during marine ecology.
Picture.
This is a sunrise,
It
actually.
was breathtaking. Mm-hmm.
This is me and my friend Mauricio. I don't know, he found these goofy looking glasses, and I was wearing my glasses that day, so he decided to switch. And then one of our SLCs taught us how to smile with only the bottom half of our faces, so yeah, thought that would be fun too. So that's what that picture is about. You make really good friends in Belize. So, do you want any more depth about classes or random? We can talk about random adventures that we did.
So maybe you could share your major and how this program complemented that and where you see something.
Yeah, I can go first. Well, my major is environmental studies, and I heard about CCSP because there's like 3 parts to this organization called Center for Environmental Leadership, CEL, there we go. And so I interned with Restoring Eden, which is one part, last summer, and then I was a student leader for Renewal, which is the second part, and then the third part is CCSP, Studying Abroad. And so I was already in the office with like people who were like, Kirsten, like you could totally do this, you could study abroad. And it just like fit in really nicely for me, so.
Being a CCSP was actually my first semester in my major. So last fall I was athletic training, pre-physical therapy, but I had been praying about changing my major for about 6 months. And so in the fall there was this summit that our club wanted to go to out in New York, which Sodexo ended up supporting and paying for 3 of us to go, which was awesome because they wanted us to go and come back and bring them more information about how to make the DC better. So Sodexo was cool. But so on our way out there, first bus ride, like I didn't really know Kirsten all that well. She was like, "Hey, do you want to go to Belize?" I'm like, "Yeah, that sounds great." Like I don't know where that is. I've never heard of it. I don't know what's there. but that sounds good. Let's go there. And so I'm now an environmental science major, so being there, like I said, was my first semester, really in my major, which really was great. How it pertains, well, I really love ecology, and just by being there, the whole idea of water and the importance of water and water quality, because down there, we had to drink purified water, because if you didn't, you could get sick, like amoebas and things, which at one point I had, and it wasn't fun. So then you begin to realize how important having clean water is, and all I did was brush my toothbrush with the water. Brush my teeth with water, that was it. So traveling there and Guatemala, we always had to drink purified water, and just really diving into how creation is a gift and how we should take care of it. So coming back, and while I was down there, people said, hey, you should go to Osable Institute. So then this summer, I ended up going out to Michigan all summer for 10 weeks, and I took various classes, and one of them was watershed stewardship. And so now I'm a certified water monitor through the EPA and Global Water Watch through monitoring water. So my life flipped around very, very quickly from last fall. But CCSB really just shapes my whole major for me, being environmental science. The only difference between environmental sciences and studies is that I take more lab courses. So, but yeah, it just being there just shaped my whole view about creation here completely, because we talked about integration of food and faith, water, how poverty relates to agriculture and like that. So yeah.
Yes.
I know the Belize campus recently switched to a new location.
Okay.
Can you talk a little bit about the campus? What housing was like when your classroom space was like?
Yeah. So it was last fall was their first semester on the new campus. So they have two main buildings. The building that we stayed in was the kitchen, our rooms, our bedrooms, like 2 bathrooms, and the classroom and the dining room.
There were 2 levels.
So yeah, 2 levels, and so that's where we stayed, and also the professor also. And then like up the hill was where our SLCs stayed in the office, and it was like under construction like the whole time that we were there. And so we all stayed on the same campus together, which is, I feel like, pretty unique.
Yeah, so the campus was just a really small, kind of a little bit secluded right up. So we had town, and then we up this hill called Christopher Ray Road. We actually started to get into the jungle. So we were like just barely right into the jungle and really close to a river called McCall. And so it was nice to kind of be secluded and just be in there and have our own private campus, because we had the opportunity to go into town if we wanted, and so we just biked or walked. And so campus was really small, and so there was the 2 main buildings that we had, and also our director's building. So we had a really small group. There was only 7 of us, although right now, this semester, they have 18 students, which is amazing. And so with the 2 buildings, one of the buildings was under construction, like Kirsten said, and the one that we stayed in was finished. And so on the 2 floors, we had the props room, and then my room, the bathroom, and then kind of like the lounge and the kitchen. So I just like woke up and walked right into the kitchen and got my food, which is great. And then you have the downstairs, where you have 2 rooms like this. One was the library, one was our classroom, and then 2 bedrooms right here. And we had verandas that went on the outside of each level, which was sweet, because then you could just overlook this valley that was going down and some other really beautiful hills going things. Lots of birding to do on campus. We saw toucans. All of a sudden, all of us be like, oh, toucan! And we all like run outside and stuff. Birding and stuff. So a lot of wildlife on campus. Also for like breakfast, we sat outside on the veranda every day, every morning. We made it our goal to sit out there for everything. And so there's this really awesome animal. Well, I brought my journal. It's kind of turned more into a scrapbook. But there's this cute little animal. It's kind of a mix of like a pig and a squirrel. and a mouse, all in one. And so we would just see them like bouncing around our front yard every morning. So like, oh, there goes the Goody again. Or just so there's a lot of fun stuff out there. So, oh, Mayan ruins. We didn't mention those. There's Mayan ruins all over the place, and they're basically just giant, big kid playgrounds. Like, they're really awesome. Did a couple of handstands on a few of the tops, which also made people nervous, but it was fun. So, and I had my birthday down there. So birthdays down there were a blast because the SLCs made a point of secretively figuring out like what you want for your birthday. And so for my birthday was only 7 days in, and they made me everyone made me that birthday card. And so we ended up going to Mayan Ruin on my birthday. And then we came back, they surprised me with crepes, because I really love crepes. And then we just had game night. For another girl, she really likes, we all like Star Wars. So this one girl in particular wanted a Star Wars birthday. And so we ended up getting, sorry, I'm not explaining this well. Okay, so that's me on my birthday. You should make it nice. I'm 21 crowns, so I gotta spend my 21st birthday in the foreign country. And so this other girl for her birthday was Star Wars themed, and so all of us stationed in different places and dressed up as Sith Lords, and then she got clues to where she should find us, and then people we only had 2 swords, so people were sprinting in different directions to give people swords, and I didn't get to see any of it because I was the last one. I was Darth Vader. I named myself Darth Snorkel, so I wore my snorkel gear and got my flippers on, and then they gave me the sword and got my black sweatshirt and came out doing the whole snorkel Darth Vader thing. The whole thing got recorded, which was really great. So that was a blast. And then another girl had her birthday, and she was really outdoorsy. So we ended up trying to make little canoes out of whatever we could find on campus. We got about 5 minutes or something to do it. And then we raced them down the little creek. And we had to try and build a fire. So we have these 3 little fires in the fire pit. So that was fun. So birthdays, you want to have your birthday, please. It's really awesome. So
You eat a lot of really good food there too.
Oh yeah.
For your birthdays and just in general. Food is awesome. I will never eat bananas the same way again.
Yeah. They have bananas and rice and beans.
So this is the blog that our SLCs posted, our whole time that we were there. So it's kind of cool now to go back there and read about what we did, and that's us climbing St. Antonich, one of the 9 ruins in Belize. So I don't know if you guys have any questions or if you want to know what we did more in depth. This is a really great way to find out what we did. So it's on the CCSP website, and now they're posting for the new fall students this year.
So you can check that out too.
Yeah,
Absolutely. I think that's it. There's no more questions? All right, we're done. There's my duck umbrella.
Oh no!
I had an umbrella with a little duck head on the bottom.